Sticky Reactor here. In the last video, we looked at the highlights of 2021. But in today's video, we're going to be looking at why 2022 will be the best year ever. And last year, we got the good news that the vaccine was being introduced in the whole world. Maybe this year, who knows? Maybe the pandemic will be over. Hopefully. So, let's get into this video.
Told you in 2022 you're going to be fitter, happier, richer, and less overworked. What if we said come next summer you'll be stress-free, beach-bound, and feeling like $1 million from working your new 4-day work week? You're going to bounce back from these years of pandemic tribulations, and here is why. As we write this, the news headlines are looking slightly apocalyptic. Again, with that horrible Greek name of Omicron spilling out of every news website. But as vaccination rates increase and people get natural immunity, many scientists now say that 2022 will be the year the pandemic ends. As an epidemiologist working for the World Health Organization said, we think between now and the end of 2022, this is the point where we get control over the virus. Yeah, it won't suddenly disappear, but by getting control, that scientist means that COVID won't be anywhere near as dangerous next year as it is this year. The scientist said the prediction right now is that come the latter part of 22, 70% of the world's population will be vaccinated. She added if we reach that target, we will be in a very, very different situation epidemiologically. This is what an Australian scientist told the Guardian newspaper about that. Being fully vaccinated against COVID protects you from getting severe disease, yes, but it doesn't completely protect you from getting COVID. So if you are someone with chronic health conditions, what might be a mild disease or mild infection in a young person or a person who is in good health will have a greater impact on you. But there's good news here. That is, there are now reports that tell us while many people did unhealthy things at the start of the pandemic, such as eating too much and drinking so much their blood was part smeared off, more and more people have now become health conscious. Many of us have started to cook healthier meals during the pandemic to cure our boredom. This has led to a big boost in healthy eating across the world. The home fitness craze also meant that those who used to go to the gym before the pandemic now worked out at home, and those who didn't go to the gym at all gave working out a try. So privately, many of us are bouncing back big style, but that won't do anything to improve the economy. But many experts are now saying the economy will also bounce back and things will be looking much better in many countries come the middle of 2022. The World Bank reported this year, a year and a half since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, the global economy is poised to stage its most robust post-recession recovery in 80 years. The problem is that this bounce back will be uneven across the world, but one financial expert said the world economy is set to boom, adding that there will be a reversal in fortune that will benefit all regions of the world. Morgan Stanley said this boom will be led by the USA, which will see a 5.9% growth in gross domestic product. China, it forecasts, will see a whopping 9% growth, and across the European Union a 5% growth. The UK, India, Japan can also expect a bit of growth. It might seem strange to hear that such growth will happen so quickly. US News reported one of the reasons for this is the recession brought on by COVID-19 was not a financial crisis or the result of economic imbalances as many prior recessions were. The IMF said our excellent response to the collapse in 2020 has led to multi-speed recoveries around the world. But you might be sitting there watching this video and thinking, okay, sure, but how will that make my life better? When we hear about economic growth, it's not enough to give us immediate positive effects. But one thing that looks set to happen is you will work less for the same amount of money. We kid you not. As you know, many people worked from home during the pandemic. Something that has come out of that is workers are now saying they can get more done at home. They don't need the office. The BBC says this will very likely further change what they've stated as radical transformation in the workplace. Come 2022, you might be expected not to work 5 days a week, but 4. The article said a commonality across all models is that you're not cramming your previous work span into a shorter time frame, like working 40 hours in 4 days. You're removing a portion of your total work time for the week. More importantly, salaries remain the same. We now know we can get work done in less time, but we also know that being stressed and overworked is not good for our health. Also, it would seem pretty contradictory of governments to tell us to work our butts off when for 2 years they've been telling us to protect ourselves from illness. Some experts are now saying we can improve and become more productive, healthier, and happier by working less. The focus now more than ever is on a good work-life balance. But will companies be up for reducing your hours? They might be when they read the research that says people work slower and do worse work when they work more hours. So when they have fewer hours on the job, they actually perform better. You'll probably love a guy named John Trugakos, who's the Associate Professor of Organizational Behavior at the University of Toronto. The reason you'll dig this guy is that he's been saying humans aren't made to work 8 hours straight. He said you're stretching people's attention over a long period of time, which is hard for them to do. Thus, they're going to be less effective. Other research talks about something called cyber loafing, which we admit was a new expression for us. It basically means that people in the office or in other work environments spend quite a bit of their time looking at their phones and doing things like checking Facebook. Some studies said at worst, people spend 2.5 hours a day at work cyber loafing. Even if you're very conscientious about your work output, studies say you'll still spend at least 3 hours a week messing around with tech that's not work-related. Hey, we bet some of you watching this are currently being paid to do something else. You naughty viewer, you. Another thing we learned as people started working from home is all the time saved from not having to do things like having those pointless daily meetings where everyone wants to talk but doesn't really have anything to say. We now know so much time is wasted in the office. On top of that, we save tons of cash not traveling to work. The average Londoner spends a whopping £122 a month commuting to work. That's about $160. This is only if they live in the city. It's almost 3 times more if they live outside. The website FlexJobs said in the US, average cost of commuting per year is $2,000 to $5,000. This cash could soon be saved. But would doing fewer hours negatively affect your business if you own one? Maybe some of you watching this actually employ people, and you're not keen on reducing your employees' hours. Well, there was a study undertaken in Iceland which tracked the productivity of office workers from 2015 to 2019. Those workers didn't get a day off, only half a day off per week. They were paid the same. The study showed that people actually did more work. The BBC wrote, in the Reykjavik accountancy department, workers processed 6.5% more invoices once they started working fewer hours. At a police station, meanwhile, the shorter workweek didn't negatively affect the number of investigative cases closed. People working fewer hours for the same pay is not a pipe dream. There are numerous studies now telling us fewer hours can actually be positive for the business, and with it, people's happiness, health, and well-being improve. So if that's not good news, we don't know what is. We are now more health conscious. Our employees are seeing we work better when we're not overworked. Our governments can't exactly start expecting us to work to the point of stress after locking us down for so long. The world is changing. With less work stress in our lives, we can actually expect to get healthier. Studies have shown that long work days can lead to overeating and obesity, and also increase our consumption of drugs such as alcohol and cigarettes. One major study that looked at one
So less work equals more productivity.
194 countries in the world found that there were 745,000 attributable deaths to longer work hours, saying a hard day at the office gave workers more risk of having a stroke or getting some form of heart disease. Back in 1930, John Maynard Keynes said that while technology improves, we will work less, just as Karl Marx thought. Improved tech will...
In Japan, they have the highest heart attack and stroke blood pressure because of work. They are so dedicated to work that they forget about their health. That's in Japan, but due to what the infographic show was saying, I'm gonna bet that those numbers are gonna go down. So thank you, technology.
Some point mean humans don't have to work as hard, and we'll be able to flourish and write poems all day. It hasn't happened yet. But right now, there is an evolution going on in artificial intelligence. Even before we were struck by the virus, the media was telling us that the rise of the robots could lead to an easier work life. Think tanks back then were saying automation in the workplace will lead to fewer hours on the job. Well, 2022 would be the ideal time to start that. Tech pundits are now saying things like, in 2022, automation will accelerate. Next year, experts say automation will be the biggest trend in technology. Many companies now even have automation mandates. While before the pandemic, cynics were saying,
Japan's blood rate of hard work and all that stuff are gonna go down, but we're also gonna be taken over by robots of AI.
that when tasks get more automated, people will be fired or expected to do other tasks. Post-pandemic, we know that companies will very likely be on board with giving workers a break. So what will we do with all this free time? The word on the street is that the summer of 2022 will be when we stop hearing horror stories about the pandemic. It'll be like a summer of love, and folks can finally feel assured that the bad news of the last couple of years is behind them for good. No doubt, we'll be overjoyed by the smallest things, such as partying whenever we want, or not being told we have to wear that mask in 7-Eleven to buy some milk. But one thing we're all looking forward to is traveling again. With your new stress-free job and your new healthy lifestyle, you'll be ready to spread your wings. As we write this, the media is saying the 2022 international travel outlook is rosier than ever. The travel website Expedia said that 37% of American people going on vacation in 2022 won't just be going somewhere in the country, but will go abroad. In terms of travel, it's going to be a busy year for Americans. Countries will finally be open for tourists, with the added benefit that in 2022, there will be loads of cheap deals because those countries really need their tourism revenue. It's going to happen with one travel company called G Adventures saying it's seen a rise of 35% in people looking to book foreign holidays. Apparently, very popular choices so far have been Peru, Costa Rica, and Morocco. But if you look at flight bookings, the number of people buying flights from New York to Paris or LA to London has gone through the roof. This is why travel experts are now saying 2022 will be the year many people tick off a couple of travel items that they have on their bucket lists. Okay, so in 2021, people could travel, but my God, were there a lot of hoops to jump through. Not to mention the fact that travelers sometimes risked having to pay for a hotel quarantine. We expect by the summer of 22, traveling will be without such risks. One travel expert summed it up like this: I've been in tourism research for almost 2 decades, and the desire to travel seems incredibly strong right now, the strongest I feel like I've ever seen. You know that already because you are watching this and thinking how much you'd love to escape for a while. It can happen, and there are now more affordable possibilities than ever before. Both Expedia and the Airlines Reporting Corporation reported that right now round-trip flights are 35% cheaper than they were in 2019. So, viewers, don't feel too down about mutations. We know you're already embracing a healthier lifestyle, and we suspect your work life is about to get easier. Things are looking up. They certainly will be in the summer when you're laid on the beach in Thailand watching the sun sink beneath the horizon and the world pandemic is far from your mind. Things are on the up. Go forth and prosper, dear viewers. It's time to shine.
So 2022 has a lot of potential in being one of the best years after COVID. We can start traveling, we'll be more immune to COVID, we can get less work hours in, and be replaced with robots, which could lead to AI taking over. Fingers crossed it doesn't. And these are all good things. I hope 2022 will be the best year after COVID. Because we all been home stuck. We all been tired of our family members, roommates, and we just want to go out there and just live a little, you know? Go to a different country and explore. And I hope all that comes true, you know? There's not much to say here, except for let's all stay positive about 2022. Not positive about COVID. Hopefully you guys don't stay positive for COVID. Be negative about COVID and be positive about 2022 being one of the greatest years after COVID. So, with all that in mind, I hope you guys have a great day and stay negative to COVID. Stay positive being life. Stay positive about life. And yeah, peace.